Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, on this rather chilly, grey, overcast Monday. But we are at least only 7 weeks till Christmas. Frightening, isn't it? Anyway, we have a story here, once more highlighting SNP hypocrisy. We have a woman called Anne McLaughlin. She's an MP, and she's advertising for a job that she has, and she wants to pay someone to come and do this job. And she's not offering the living wage, which is apparently SNP policy. She is offering the minimum wage, and I suppose at least she's at that level, but not with the what's called the living wage, which is slightly more. Like I say, and that's the policy. But there's even more than that because of one of the things that she does. Kind of shows and highlights all the hypocrisy about her offering the job at this rate. Now, we will have a look at that when we get into the piece. Now, of course, having been caught out, she says, oh, it was an oversight. We'll change it immediately. Yeah, sure, Anne. Sure, oversight. That's right. But, of course, ironically, it isn't even her money that will be paying the wages. So you wonder why she's being so mean about it. Well, anyway, we'll take a look, see what's going on, see why Anne McLaughlin is a bit hypocritical. Here goes. Now, this really does seem a bit mean-spirited of her. But anti-poverty SNP MP advertises job paying less than the real living wage. Now, she is someone who crusades and pushes forward her vast experience of working with people in poverty and yet refuses to pay them the living wage, which her party fully endorses. But we'll go into it, but you'll see why the hypocrisy is there and why wouldn't she pay it? But we'll come to that. Anyway, Anne McLaughlin said she will correct the mathematical error in the job advert straight away. An anti-poverty SNP MP has been accused of hypocrisy after she's advertised a job paying less than the real living wage. North East Glasgow MP Anne McLaughlin offered £10.81 an hour, that's the minimum wage, despite the voluntary rate going up to £12. This voluntary rate is the real living wage, which is assessed by people. And they're saying, well, in reality, although that's the minimum wage is £10.81, reality you need £12 an hour in order to live, what they call a living wage, a respectable life, if you like, a good life. We've just got that extra little bit to give you a little bit of leeway each week. Anyway, Maureen Burke, the Labour candidate in the seat, said the hypocrisy of well-paid MPs offering poverty wages just shows how out of touch the SNP are with our communities. I mean, there's someone who's got enough money in the bank to be able to, go to Greggs on a regular basis, as we see. I just noticed as well, and it didn't click, if you look around her neck, she's wearing those colours, the purple, green and white, which is, of course, the suffragette movement colours. I had to think of the word there. They're the colours of the suffragettes, and it's also the colours taken on by women who are fighting against the gender reform. So maybe we should give her a little bit of slack, but I'm not going to. Anyway, in-work poverty is an epidemic in our country, and MPs should set an example by paying their staff properly. The real living wage, which is set by experts and based on the cost of living, is paid by over 14,000 employers. And unlike the statutory national living wage, it is voluntary, and firms are encouraged to take part to help reduce poverty. And it's a fine thing, £12 an hour. I think it makes a difference from the sort of £10.81, £10.90 it's going to be, to £12, or £10.81, which is the minimum wage, £12. That makes a hell of a difference. It's £1 odd an hour, but £40 a week, nearly £200 a month. Someone working like that extra £200 a month can make the difference, especially in the winter months when you've got to put heating on. So it is an important thing. Anyway, it was announced last month that the rate for the national living wage will go up from £10.90 an hour to £12, with companies having 6 months to implement the increase. Now, the office of Miss McLaughlin, and this is where we get the hypocrisy, who is a board member of an anti-poverty charity, tweeted an advert for the admin's assistant job on November the 3rd. It offered $22,500 a year for a 40-hour week, which works out at £10.81 an hour. This is less than the £10.90 real living wage as it stands, and the £12 announced, which is coming in from next month, 1st of January. The advert said that the brilliant opportunity would require some evening and weekend work. You know, they want this, they want you to do this, want you to be on call, but then they pay you what I've got to be honestly calling a shit wage in this day and age. Anyway, there we are. I'm going to just go through. Anne McLaughlin MP is looking for an enthusiastic and motivated individual to join her in Glasgow North East constituent team. This is a really exciting opportunity, part of a small and dedicated office supporting and work and, fetching and carrying from Greg's, on a regular basis. Admin assistant, £22,500 a year, 40-hour weeks. Well, working week is actually 37.5 hours. And if you're doing any more than that, then you're entitled to be paid at a better rate. So in actual fact, that should be up nearer about 25,000 if you're going to be doing it. Anyway, the left winger, because SNP, they're all Marxists, aren't they? Out to the left, earns £86,500 a year as an MP, but she can draw on publicly funded staffing budgets of £236,000 a year. Now, that's paid from Westminster. It's not her money. Westminster will pay that. Why would she not pay £12 an hour? Why would she not pay the national the national living wage rather than the national minimum wage? It seems very, very weird for a woman who is also on the board of a charity which deals with poverty. What is wrong with the woman? Anyway, McLaughlin, a member of the SNP Socialist Group. Socialist, yeah, keeping the poor poor. And there's the other thing, of course, socialism needs poverty. Because if people are richer, slightly better off, and they're happy, they tend not to vote socialist because they don't need to. So what happens is socialism absolutely relies on people being poor and miserable for it to exist. It claims, we want to lift people out of poverty. And yet, the very fact that socialism exists is purely because of poverty. So they absolutely lie, don't they? Anyway, the anti-poverty crusader also tweeted in the post, poverty is not just about things you can't buy, it's about experiences you miss out on at special times. Yeah, experiences that you could probably do if she paid the proper wage. Her MP's register of interest says she's an unpaid board member of the Scottish Pantry Network, a charity dealing with food poverty. Well, she doesn't look like she's suffering from food poverty, does she? I did notice she's got herself into a charity that has a lot of food. Have you seen that? That used to have a lot of food. Should be the nearer thing. Anyway, she says, I'm proud to say I've always paid my staff the real living wage as a minimum. That's a lie. You're offering this one less. As we continue to deliver for the people of Glasgow North East. The starting salary for this role will be updated to reflect this as soon as possible. Basically, you've been found out and yes, backspinning it. You're walking it back. Although, don't look like you've done a lot of walking, love. One of the strongest supporters of the real living wage is the SNP-led government, led by McLaughlin's Glasgow colleague Humza Yousaf. You see, it's actually the policy. It's the policy of the SNP. And yet she's paying minimum wage, not living wage. It isn't even coming out of her budget. It's coming out of parliamentary budget. And you have to ask what the hell is going on with these people. You give up. I'm not going to rest it. It's just a bit of talking about other people and politicking and all that. But there she is. A woman who's never knowingly walked past a Greg's, who got herself a job working for a food charity so she can get closer to the product, as it were. And then she's being incredibly tight and mean with money that isn't even coming out of her pocket, while she's vastly overpaid for what she does. Unbelievable, isn't it? Absolutely unbelievable. Only it's not, is it? It's the SNP. It's all far too believable. Anyway, round off and come up. You've got to imagine, haven't you, her and Bunter Blackford sitting there in a debate in the Commons talking about poverty and food poverty particularly. They're both getting up and waddling up to speak, Blah, 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 blah. I'd like to talk about food poverty. What would she know? What would he know? Pair of them. Unbelievable. And then they have the effrontery to sit there and moan, we've been caught out by offering a wage that's lower than what we say it should be. I mean, like I say, it isn't even coming out of their pocket. It makes no difference to them. It's stupid, isn't it? Why would you do something like that? This is what I say. Politicians, generally, very, very stupid. Look at the optics. Just look at the optics. Anyway, I shall stop there. finished. That's the first one of the day out the way. Got a few more to come already. Early in the day and the stories are lining up. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do hope you'll stick around for the next one. Do please hit the subscribe button. We're getting very close to a little target that I'd like to hit soon. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, none of these MPs actually care about you. They're all in it for themselves. Bye.